Chris Buescher is the definition of quiet consistency. Every single year, he's fluctuating between 10th to 15th in points with RFK Racing, a B-level team. But for the most part, he's usually not considered a championship favorite. However, there was a brief period in time where Chris Buescher was lighting the NASCAR world on fire, and I don't think anybody expected this generational 5-race streak to end the 2023 regular season that year. So I want to talk about today Chris Buescher's 2023 Linsanity run. Let's get into it. The date is July 30th, 2023, and the NASCAR Cup Series heads to Richmond Raceway. Up to this point, Chris Buescher and his RFK teammate and owner, Brad Keselowski, were both having pretty solid years consistency-wise. No wins yet, but they were both comfortably in the playoffs on points alone. Chris Buescher qualifies a pretty disappointing 26th. He has some work to do, but it's shown that both he and his teammate Brad Keselowski have fast cars, and by lap 160, Chris Buescher cracks the top 5 for the first time today. He's clearly at least a top 2, top 3 car with his incredible pace. One thing that really helped Chris Buescher in this race was Bubba Wallace, on a green flag pit stop, had issues. This costed Bubba Wallace a little bit of track position, which allowed Chris Buescher to prevail. And for a majority of this race, it wasn't just Chris Buescher, but Brad Keselowski led a bunch of laps. RFK was running 1-2 for a majority of that race. And on the final round of green flag pit stops, Chris Buescher, with his fast race car, passed Martin Truex around the outside on older tires and was on his way to a comfortable, easy first win of the season. Until a late race yellow bunched the field back up, and Chris Buescher was going to have to work for it. He had about a 5-second lead over Denny Hamlin before this caution. The restart happens. 3 laps to go. Chris Buescher has a great restart, leads the final 3 laps, takes the win. The funniest thing about that race was, while it was a great win for Chris Buescher, Rick Allen, who was the lead commentator for NBC at the time, gave one of the funniest and most iconic calls. I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm about to play for you.
Chris Buescher, after a dominant performance, 86 laps out in front, down the backstretch for the final time. The 30-year-old from Prosper, Texas, which, by the way, has a population of 30,000, is going to win in front of more here in Richmond. Buescher wins at the short track.
Prosper, Texas, with a population of 30,000. It was just so funny because, I know Chris Buescher's from Prosper, Texas, but, it had nothing to do with him winning the race. But nonetheless, incredible speed out of both RFK cars. Chris Buescher gets his first win of the year, locks him into the playoffs. He led 88 laps that day, was one of the dominant cars. I think many people thought that would be his one win this season. Guess when his next win came? The very next week. We are now in the weekend of August 6th, Sunday, August 6th. At Michigan International Raceway. Chris Buescher, after qualifying 4th, had top 10 speed, was running up in the top 10 for most of that day. Due to a bunch of pitch strategy, he was not really getting a bunch of stage points, but before you knew it, the beginning of stage 3, Chris Buescher was your race leader and went on to lead a bunch of laps in that race. Martin Truex that day was going to be the car to beat. He had a great stage 2 battle with Daniel Suarez, one of the only cars who can consistently pass whenever he wanted. Truex was the best car that day. And a little history about Martin Truex, he is notoriously known to dominate Monday races. And this race is now being held on a Monday. So Chris Buescher had his word cut out for him. Can he win back-to-back races? Martin Truex, due to pitch strategy, is shuffled back in traffic, but is quickly making his way to the front of the field. On a round of green flag pit stops, Tyler Reddick, one of Chris Buescher's biggest competitors, unfortunately blows a tire. And Tyler Reddick would have been in front of Chris Buescher after that pit cycle. But the blown tire takes Tyler Reddick out of contention. It's now coming down to the wire between Chris Buescher and Martin Truex Jr. And they have a great battle. Truex is clearly faster. He is closing in on Chris Buescher at a pretty fast pace. and the two get side by side. I'm just going to play the battle real quick because this lap and a half battle is really good between Martin Truex and Chris Buescher. It's must-see TV.
The 17 going to be able to block it. Truex is there. He's going to be side by side off the corner.
Here comes Truex down the backstretch.
Truex going to try to bury him down into turn 3. So is the 17.
Little side drafting, and will he be able to clear him?
He does it.
There's a car in front. That's the 34 of McDowell. Now, who will use that car? As the side draft happens again, Martin Truex Jr. surging ahead as he pulled the 17 back. Now the 17 side drafts him back.
Still here. Clear, huh?
Whoa, the 19's coming up the track a little bit. He's loose. He
Had to get out of the gas.
Oh, my goodness.
Clear.
You saw the fire come out of the pipes of the 19 car.
Chris Buescher's able to hold off Truex, lead the final handful of laps, and take his second win in a row. Just like that, Chris Buescher goes from no wins to back-to-back wins in a season, which is very impressive. Brad Keselowski also had decent speed that day, but Chris Buescher led 52 laps that day, race high. No one led more laps than Chris Buescher that day. They're heating up. I don't know what they found. Lightning in a bottle. Man, they were always running decent all season, but now they're like going out there and dominating. Like, this was not the speed we saw out of Chris Buescher earlier in the season. He had decent speed, but not winning speed. The next two races are the Indy Road Course and Watkins Glen. Two road courses, and Chris Buescher has never notoriously been known to be that good of a road course racer. Buescher was not a factor in either races for the win. He still brought home solid finishes. Michael McDowell, Daniel Suarez, and Chase Elliott. This was during a time when there was no more stage cautions. One caution on that day, 2 hours of consecutive green flag racing to finish it off. The field was very spread out, and Chris Buescher, who qualified 17th, finished a quiet but respectable 11th. Not a terrible finish, a good day, no issues, kept the car clean. 11th out of like 30-something cars is still pretty solid, coming off back-to-back wins. The next week at Watkins Glen, again, a pretty quiet day because there wasn't a lot going on. It wasn't a very competitive race. I was there. Once William Byron took the lead around the third mark of the race, he never looked back. There was only one caution that day. The field was very spread out. But Chris Buescher qualified 13th and finished a respectable 7th place. Again, he may have not had winning speed, but road courses are different. And the lack of cautions didn't give Buescher any opportunities to make some moves on restarts. He had to run his race with no mistakes, consecutive long green flag runs, and he did that. I want to point out about the Watkins Glen race, a solid top 10 finish. Little did we know the very next year at Watkins Glen, when Chris Buescher missed the playoffs due to not having a win, he would get his one and only win in 2024 at Watkins Glen. I just wanted to point that out. He beat SVG, road course specialist, to get his 6th and most recent Cup Series win. William Byron would win that race. Michael McDowell would win the Indy Road Course. And then we go to the last race of the regular season, Daytona. Chris Buescher would get his 3rd win in 5 races to end out the regular season, but this was no easy task. This is Daytona. Anybody can win Daytona. Chris Buescher started about 9th place in this race. He was fast. The Fords were very fast. But he had his work cut out for him. Stage 1, he ran about mid-pack all day. Then towards the end of Stage 2, he started to make some moves. He's towards the front. Him and his teammate Keselowski are running pretty good. Then, on the last lap of Stage 2, the big one happens. A massive crash involving Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, several others. I didn't realize this till I looked back to get clips for this video, that Chris Buescher was involved in that big crash. He appeared to just spin out by himself to avoid it, but I don't think he got any damage. His car obviously performed great the rest of the night, but it's just something to point out that he spun out and came back to win. Stage 3 starts, the car is clean. He's running very well, top 5 most of that last stage. And before you know it, both he and his teammate Keselowski are paired up together. They are in the catbird seat. They have a chance to win this race. A big wreck happens with Ryan Preece, but at the time, Chris Buescher and Keselowski were running 2nd and 3rd. On the final restart, 2 laps to go. The two RFK cars hook up together. Keselowski pushes Chris Buescher to the race lead and basically just like plays like defense. Brad is being a great teammate, not trying to pull out and get the win himself. He's committed to pushing the 17 car. RFK finishes 1-2 at Daytona. I definitely did not expect Chris Buescher to win 3 out of 5 races to close out the regular season. And just like that, the Linsanity run comes to an end. Chris Buescher, though, in 2023, to this date, had his most impressive season. Across the board, 9 top 5s, 16 top 10s, an average finish of 11.92, which is really, really good. His 3 big wins, the only time in his career thus far that he's made the round of 8, and finished 7th in the point standings. His teammate Brad Keselowski finished 1 spot behind in 8th. While Keselowski didn't get a win, the 2 RFK cars had an incredible year. Arguably the best year for Roush since the early 2010s when they had Biffle still, and Matt Kenseth, and Carl Edwards. I just wanted to mention that because I feel like that run for Chris Buescher is not talked about enough. He's been responsible, or one of the people responsible, for lifting Roush back up again. Roush for so many years was not very good, irrelevant even. And when Chris Buescher got signed, he's been slowly making strides every single year. Roush is a good team, but they're nowhere near Penske, Hendrick, Gibbs, and every single year Chris Buescher still is a factor, quietly. If they can get a bit more speed in those cars, I'm confident that Chris Buescher can easily get a couple wins this coming season. I think now that there's no more winning you're in the new points format, Chris Buescher will comfortably make the chase with no issues. Because consistency is his whole like shtick. An incredible year for Chris Buescher, an incredible run that I don't think anybody saw coming. Hopefully he has a season like that again. That basically wraps it up for Chris Buescher's Linsanity run. Before I go, let's go over a couple Chris Buescher-related paint schemes going into 2026. First, the Build Submarines car. All 3 Roush drivers are spouting the same scheme. Ryan Preece, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher. They got rid of the white that was on it last year, but I think the dark gray makes it look more like menacing. And like the minty green, I think they're all the same scheme, but they look very good. It's a good-looking race car that was like that, since it has that darker tone, is a bit more intimidating to look at. I love this car. The bodyguard paint scheme. It's really like nearly the exact same paint scheme as the Build Submarines car. It's just different colors, but the orange and black are 2 really good colors. It reminds me of Halloween. I like also that Roush uses the chrome number fonts instead of just regular colors. Like, their numbers shine on the side doors. I really like that. 2 very good paint schemes to start off the year for Chris Buescher. Do you think Chris Buescher will ever go on another Linsanity run? Do you think Chris Buescher is a future Cup Series champion? If Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing gets some more speed, I'm very confident that Chris Buescher will be a Cup champion one day. It's going to take more time, though, because that month of August where he didn't lose a single oval race, won 3 of 5 races, it proved that if the pieces fall properly, Chris Buescher could be a legit championship threat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more new videos down the road as we get closer to the beginning of the new season. Take care.